Hi, everyone. My name is Umesh Kumar. I'm the co-founder and managing partner here at K&K Ventures. We are a venture studio and innovation firm working with startups and SMEs, helping them raise funding and helping them grow their business. So welcome to How to Sell Like a Boss and Stand Out from the Crowd. So let's get a bit of context here. Sales is about building trust in education. This is a fantastic quote. And now more than ever, due to COVID, the world, in terms of elections and the recession globally that we're perhaps going to experience, trust in building education is critical to sales in whatever field that you're doing. And these facts are terrifying, but true. People don't follow up, and it takes time to sell an individual on your product or your service. So, make sure that you follow up. That's a key fact here. Another thing is that people don't ask for referrals, which I think is crazy. Something like 91% of customers out there in the world want to give you more money and want to give you more leads, but it's up to you to take them. So that's another thing to think about. So with that in mind, what I want you to get out of my talk and my masterclass today is what I think is 10 tips to become a sales superstar, as you can see here. So number one, listen. Well, sales is about selling, but actually more than anything, it's about listening. Let the person that you're speaking to, the customer, the potential lead, let them tell you what their problems are and just write them down and take note of it. Don't speak. This isn't an exercise in you telling us all about the features or of your product or your service, but more than ever, it's about understanding what their pain point is, what their problems are, what their frustrations are, and then talk about why your product or service is perfect for them. Body language, fantastic tool here. See how they're sitting. Are they engaged? Are they frustrated? Are they moving their hands? These tells and ticks tell you whether they're interested in their product, whether you're losing them, whether you need to change tact, whether they are a serious buyer or not. So pay attention to that, as well as their tone. How are they talking to you? Are they interested? Are they dull? Are they looking around and just talking quietly? Or are they leaning forward and looking engaged? Very critical. Another tip, asking better questions, and arguably something that we all, including myself as an entrepreneur and someone who works with corporates on an everyday basis, I struggle with. How to ask better questions results in getting better answers. So great book for everyone out there, a little tip for you. Change Your Questions, Change Your Life by Wendy Nelson. One tip, go out and buy that book. If you haven't read it, please do. Another few things, which I think is a really amazing tip. So if you already are a salesperson, or if you already are someone that's struggling with this process of sales, ask fewer questions, but have more clarification and more parts to it. For example, tell me a little bit more about your biggest frustrations. Rather than moving on to the next question, okay, so tell me about this. Ask them more. Why are you frustrated by that? How long have you been frustrated by this particular issue? What could I do to solve that frustration? Asking more parts gives you more context and therefore more clarity. And at the end of a conversation, or at the end of one of their points, do a thing called mirroring. Listen to what they're doing, mirror what they're doing and what they're saying, and then reframe it back to them. For example, let me just get that clear in my head. So what you're saying is that you're frustrated by this, but actually, if I solve this problem for you, you would be really happy. And this is the budget that you're looking for. Reframe it back to them, a really critical step. Learning from the best. This may sound obvious, but go listen to podcasts, go listen to adverts and radio stations, and write down or record the actual advert and break it down. Where was the hook? Where was the tagline? How short was it? What tone were they using? Why did I feel engulfed and excited by it? And break it down. Do the research, because there are people out there selling to you every day and you're not necessarily realizing why. Also, another tip is just call up really successful people that you know and say, how did you make all of your money? Or how did you get the recognition that you have? What did you do to get to that step? And then mirror them, copy them, because actually we can learn a lot from people more successful than ourselves. Another thing is, I'm not a salesperson in the sense I went to sales school and I did all these sales courses. I learned by doing. I learned by influence and by mastery and by understanding human psyche. And that came from public speaking. So if you were going to invest in anything, invest in a public speaking course, how to present yourself, how to talk, how to articulate your point. Really, really important. Practice, practice, practice. We've heard about Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hour rules. This is where you spend your 10,000 hours, by learning, by doing, and ultimately by failing. So pitch yourself to someone. Go up to someone that you've never met before, whether it be virtually in this day and age, or someone that you know, a family member, and just pitch them why you're amazing, why you're good, why you should work with me, something like that. Pitch a family member a pen, a product, why you should buy this, why I should give you this. Practice, 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 and repeat it hundreds of times. That's the only way that you will be able to refine your script. It will be the only way that you build confidence and ultimately understand where people are dropping off or where they're not interested, perhaps. Get comfortable with failure. You're not going to sell to everyone, and that's okay. Maybe 1 in 20 people will buy your product. But if your product's worth £20,000, then that's going to be great. Understand that you need to go to a large pool of people in order to get success. And record yourself. Look at how you present, how you tone. Are you looking directly in someone's eye? Are you looking down? These are tips that you should pick up. And actually, these are tells that you can tweak and develop over time. A/B test, measure, learn, and adapt. Really, really powerful tool here. Try multiple approaches. Try an email campaign. Try social media. Try giving them a good old-fashioned phone call. Try a Zoom call. Maybe do some ads. Test multiple different channels that see what works for you as an individual, what you're comfortable with, and what's appropriate for your business. Also, do like a 3-part email and a phone script and social media. See sales as a process. I go back to my follow-up point earlier. Send maybe 3 emails, then do a phone call, maybe then say, hey, by the way, I wrote an amazing post on my social media. Here's a link to it. Get them involved in the process of selling and break it up so it doesn't just feel like I'm doing endless phone calls with a salesperson. That's a really nice tip. And also try 10 to 15 different options and see what works for you. And then write them down in either in a notepad or an Excel sheet and see what works. That's a really, really powerful tool. Doing it every day. Again, it comes back to that practice point, but actually getting uncomfortable in that process. So a tip that I really like is sell to your spouse a new show to watch. For example, it could be a show that you really want. It could be a Marvel show. It could be an action show and they hate it, for example. But try and pitch them on that idea and see where you get to and try different angles and tacks. Also, perhaps pitch buying a pet. This is a great thing to do during kind of the lockdown worlds. Shall we buy a cat? Here are the reasons why. I think it could be great for us. I think it could be great for our family, for our kids, for my mental well-being, and see how that lands. It's just an exercise, but it's fun. And who knows, you may end up with a dog or cat as a result. Also, sell something they hate. This is a fantastic understanding of how people react to something that they don't like. So if you know that a family member doesn't like, walking out in the rain, pitch them on why you should walk out in the rain and go for a 15-minute walk every day as a result, and see how you can change them around and how your influence and your persuasion develops over time. Really, really important tool that you can use. And also negotiate on every phone call. This is fantastic, whether it be negotiating with your credit card company. Ramit Sethi, he talks about this. Every time you speak to someone, I actually spoke to someone from Now TV and I said, I want to cancel my subscription because I'm not using it. And they were trying all these tactics. And I said, well, look, if you give it to me free for the next 6 months, right now, I'll stay with you. If not, I'll leave. Take it or leave it. They thought about it, and in the end, they gave me the 6 months free subscription. But if you don't ask, you don't get. This is really important. Sales is a mindset, not a job. Everyone is a salesperson. Just don't call it a sales role. I'm selling myself to you. You're selling a reason why I should buy your product. Someone is selling yourself to why I could be a perfect date. We're selling ourselves every day. So just realize it's a mindset thing. And again, negotiation, influence, and confidence. These are the main things around sales. It isn't about being sneaky or trying to convince someone to part with their money. It's trying to understand human behavior, psychology, what their pain points are, what their passions are, what makes them excited, what their problems are. And ultimately, is your solution the right thing for them? And if you can understand negotiation and influence, you will do really, really well. Again, sale is made on every interaction. I really want to stress this point, and I'll come back to it at the end. But either I sell you a reason on why my product, service, activity is perfect for you, or you've sold me a reason on why it isn't right for you. You can't afford it. You don't like it. You don't like me. But either way, a sale is made on every transaction. So think about that when you're talking and interacting with people. Leveraging information and tools. This is an absolutely critical and fantastic way of understanding and enhancing your sales pipeline. If you're not on Twitter, please use it. The search bar on Twitter is arguably the most powerful tool for me as an individual. I can jump into any conversation in the world on any topic, and I can add value. I can create conversations. I can see what people are looking for, what their frustrations are, and I can learn a lot. So leverage social media to its fullest, in particular Twitter. Watch their social behaviors. So if there's a particular customer or client I'm after, for example, a corporate that I really want to engage with, what I do is I, to a certain degree, stalk them on social media if they have an open platform, see what they like, see what their passions are. And then you could either send them an email saying, hey, by the way, I saw that you're a huge football fan or rugby fan. I would like to send you a cool article I read, or maybe a little signed photograph that I bought, and I would like to send it to you as a kind of just a goodwill gesture. Those kinds of little activities go down really, really well, especially during lockdown, because people are sharing more than ever on social media. And using automation and CRM tools, things like monday.com, Slack, Pipedrive. These are tools that you can create. There are hundreds out there. Find what works for you, do a 7-day trial, but make sure no lead is ever lost or missed. Make sure that you're following up with those leads, as I mentioned earlier, and making sure that you've exhausted that avenue before you move on to the next lead or the next sale. It takes a lot of time and effort, cost per acquisition for an individual or for a company. It costs money. So make sure you eke out every part of value and use the tools out there to help you with that. Number 9, ignore words. And what I mean by that is those negative words, the no's, I can't, it's scary, I can't do this. Rejection is your friend, because people see rejection as a negative thing when actually use it as a positive. I learn more from a failed negotiation than I do from a successful one, because then I can ask questions around, why did you not buy from me? Was it me? Was it something I said? Was it the timing? And I can infer a lot more data and analysis from a no than from a yes. Also, don't take it personally. If you don't buy my product, it's not because you don't like me necessarily, or it's because I was rude to you. Hopefully I wasn't. But I think it's more because of the timing, or maybe I didn't sell it in the right way, or maybe financially there are pressures that I don't know about. Maybe you weren't just in the mood to be sold to, and that's okay. There are millions of reasons why people don't buy. The key is finding out what makes them tick, what their problems are, and aligning with them. And sometimes it's okay to say, shall we take up this conversation another time? More than happy to speak next week or next month if that's okay with you. Be prepared to walk away. Again, being positive, really, really important here. Positivity always wins. Positive mindset equals positive results. And I like this, not now, but not now. And what I mean by that, and it's quite a bit of a tongue twister, is sometimes you're just selling at the wrong time. People are busy, they're running around with kids, they've had some bad news, they've had a bad day. Pause, work out, is it me, or are they just in a flustered mood? Speak to them at another time. It's okay to defer it to another period of time, so long as you go back to them. And lastly, before we get into kind of Q&A, because I'm really wanting to get into your questions, is map out your network. Most people don't realize how valuable your network is, particularly if you're a university student and you're young. You've probably met thousands of people just by going to school or college or university. So look at your second degree network and look at people that you may have had short interactions with, and Google them or go on LinkedIn and see what they're up to now, and write that down in a pipeline or a kind of an Excel sheet, if you like. If you're 20 years into your career, go back to some of the people that are now also 20 years into their career. They may be senior in their companies, and reach out to them for a virtual coffee. Build your network, but also look at internally at your existing network and see if you're leveraging it effectively. If you don't ask, you don't get. Put yourself out there. You'll be surprised how many people say yes. And if you're not following Gary Vaynerchuk, he does have an annoying voice at times and can be a little bit preachy, but I do like this notion of jab, 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 right hook. Give, 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 and then go back to someone and saying, hey, look, I've added a lot of value to your career. I would like some help with something. Can you help me? And you'll be amazed how many people say yes. And again, ask and you'll receive. If you don't go out and put yourself out there and ask for something, if you don't say, can I show you this product? They will never know the value that it could be had by having that conversation. So make sure that you don't be scared and you put yourself out there. So finally, execution is everything. A sale is made on every call you make. Either you sell the client some stock or he sells you a reason he can't. If you haven't watched Boiler Room, it's a really amazing film from like 1990s, I think. Ben Affleck, early in his career, fantastic film, but it's true. Sales is a two-way interaction. So remember that. So in our final, and if you want to get in touch with me, by the way, please do drop me an email. I'm more than happy to have any conversations with any startups, SMEs, and people looking for help. So with that in mind, let's go into some of the questions that you guys have been asking. One of the questions we have here is, what is the best way to approach asking for a referral? Really simply, hey, look, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for today. Would you mind giving me maybe a few people in your network that you think this could be perfect for? I'm looking to expand my network. I'm looking to get our amazing product in front of the right people. And I guess after speaking to you today, you will be in the best sense of understanding who best I could speak to. Would you mind giving me 3 or 4 referrals? Think about it. I'll email you in a few days, but just let me know. That's a really easy way of just asking. Again, ask and you will receive. How much time should you spend developing rapport in the lead up to and at the beginning of a meeting? Look, it really depends. Everyone's different. If you've already had a few engagements and you're going into a sales meeting and they understand what it is, you can skip a lot of the chit chat. Yes, there's a few pleasantries at the start of how are you doing? How's your day? How's everything? Is now still a good time to talk? I think that's a really good question to ask. Is now still a good time to talk? Because something may have happened and they may not necessarily be in the right mindset, but they're just taking the call out of, professionalism and courtesy. But I would say, no more than 10 minutes in an hour call or 45-minute call should you be spending on pleasantries. Building rapport can be done very quickly with the right tone, manner, and conversation. And also you can build rapport during the conversation, not just at the start or at the end. Another question we have here, I have a wide experience in my career with sales and marketing. My question is, how do I attract my first client? Very good question. Your first clients are from your network often. Go back to that first degree and second degree. Hey, everyone, post on LinkedIn or social media. I've started a new business. This is what I'm working on. I'm looking for people that I can speak to, people that can look at my product and break it and give me feedback. I'm an open book. If anyone has any referrals, comments, or potential people that it could be of interest in, tag them in this post, give them my email address or phone number, and I'll reach out. Use and leverage your immediate network before you go out there, because everybody has a network. They just don't truly appreciate it. Next question. My second question to someone that asked previous, how do I stand out and position myself in the crowded marketplace with loads of other coaches and consultants? This is a great question. Consultants and coaches are all doing similar things on the face of it. It's about brand. It's about copy and content. So for example, there could be millions of coaches out there that are doing things around how to upscale your life and how to feel better in your health, mind, body, and well-being. Maybe pose a question. My business partner, Kane, always starts with a question. So, are you frustrated by where you are in your career? Are you frustrated by the lack of progress that you're making? If so, here's my journey, and this is why I think I'm similar to you. Be personal, have a little point of difference, because a lot of coaches that I see and consultants are just trying to pitch me the big picture. They're not pitching me the personal story. They're not pitching me why I should buy into them as an individual. So brand, personal story, and connecting with them as quickly as possible on that pain point. And I think you're onto a winner there. I think also another tip that I will add that I think is really, really powerful is the ability to connect with an individual by posing statements, questions, fears, irrational feelings that we all have. Nobody wants to suffer in silence, but many people do. If you put up front that you're not alone, people out there, for example, a really good example out there that I'm thinking of is Dyson. Dyson doesn't sell you, why our product's amazing because there are no wires. They sell you on this goal, this lofty ambition of a world where there are no wires. There's electricity is reformed and created in a new way. They sell us a vision. They sell us a dream, and ultimately that's powerful. I buy into that. It's exciting. All right, last question. I think I'm going to run out of time soon. My prospect agrees to send me info I need to analyze, but if it falls off their radar and I end up chasing 2 to 5 times, and sometimes it is several weeks after, how can I avoid this? I think what you've got to do is you've just got to be really open with them. Maybe just drop them a message. Go, hey, look, I know you're super busy. Can we jump on a quick 5-minute phone call? I find that a quick 5-minute phone call or a quick Zoom call is much more appropriate than back and forth on an email. You can get a lot done a lot quicker, and you can hear their tone. You can, particularly on Zoom, you can see their body language. You can get to the crux of it very quickly, and you can stress the urgency in a positive way. So I think that's a really powerful tool. Try and, rather than drag it out over 2 or 3 weeks, get to the point really quickly. Get to an immediacy of a phone call, a voice note. I don't know about you guys, but I found with my clients, a quick voice note via WhatsApp or a voicemail, sending them, pick it up at your own time. But, people respond to that a little bit more when they hear voice, when they hear tone, when they're listening to that message. It's just another powerful way of persuasion and influence, if you like. So really in the last few minutes together, and if there are any more questions, please do email me. What I want you to get from my session is sales is a two-way process. It's a complicated process, but it can be very simple when you break it down into the essence of human psychology. Be nice, be open, don't be pushy, understand the individual or the company that you're working with, empathize with them, empathize with them, be open, and walk away. If your product isn't fit for them, if it's more expensive than their budget, just say, I don't think it's for you at this time. I'll move on, but make sure you get a referral. That's really the main thing for me. Even when people say no, or I'm not interested, still get that referral, still be polite. Say, look, it may not be right for you right now. Would you mind if I follow up in 6 months? If they say no, so be it. Go back to your pipeline, go back to your Excel sheet, as I mentioned, cross it off. If not, go back to it and say, in 3 to 6 months, follow up, and actually put a date in your calendar. Go back to your phone, lock in that date, put hold, send it to them as well, so they have it. So in 3 months' time, when you message them going, looking forward to chatting, they're not confused by it. So that is me. I think we're running out of time. Again, if there are any questions, please do email me. Find me on Twitter, Facebook. Go check out the exhibitor stand. I'm on all the social media channels, and I'm more than happy to help out where I can. But thank you very much for your time. I hope it was useful. And remember, sales is a fantastic and useful process. Don't be scared of it. Thank you.